Tennessee, time again for Tennessee, Tuxedo and his tail.
Come on and see, Tennessee Tuxedo.
D.
Tennessee Tuxedo.
We will be parachuting for your pleasure, sailing seas in search of treasure, anything so he can measure up to men.
That's Tennessee Tuxedo.
A small penguin who tries but can't succeed, though he may fail. As he rides for fame and glory, still he tries in each new story tale.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. We wish you Merry Christmas the whole season through. We hope wreaths of holly and bright mistletoe will make you feel jolly wherever you go. We hope you'll hear singing a gay Christmas song and sleigh bells are ringing all season long.
Tennessee, Mr. Livingston wants to see you and Chumley right away.
What about Chumley? Can't you see we're busy caroling?
He wants to see you about the Christmas tree.
Oh, boy, Chumley, Stanley wants to see us about decorating the Christmas tree. Come on. All right, Stanley. Chumley and I are at your service. We've come to decorate the tree. Now, where is...
Not on your life. You are not going to decorate that tree. I've hired professional decorators to come in and do the job. This is important. The mayor is giving a prize for the best tree in the city, and we are going to win it.
Then what do you want us to do?
I have to go meet the mayor and his wife and bring them back. Now, you wait here and show the decorators where the tree is.
Where is it?
It's outside the auditorium, and the ornaments and everything are inside. You show the decorators where to go. I'll be back this afternoon.
But, Stanley, we can decorate that tree.
No. This is too important. I'm paying to have it done right.
All right, Chumley. Let's get over to the auditorium and start decorating that tree.
But Mr. Livingston said...
I know it, Chumley, but it's Christmas time. A time for joyful giving. We'll trim that tree for Stanley as a Christmas present from us. Well, here's the tree. Let's get it inside. I'll take this end. Come on. All right, let's cut the comedy. We've got a job to do. Come on. In it goes.
It won't fit, Tennessee.
Well, chop those big branches off.
Okay, Tennessee. Pull.
All right, we've got it in here. Now let's stand it up.
Gee, Tennessee, it won't fit.
Well, we'll just have to cut some off. Hand me that saw. There. Now it will fit.
Yeah, but it looks like a dust mop.
I'll cut a little off the handle. There.
It's kind of flat on top and bulgy in the middle. Shouldn't it have kind of a pointy top?
Nothing to it, Chumley. Hand me those clippers. There. Ever see a more beautifully shaped tree?
No, but I've seen bigger ones.
What's going on? This place looks like a lumber camp. That's a Christmas tree?
Gee, Tennessee, that looks awful small. It wouldn't even hold two of Mr. Livingston's ornaments. Oh, he's going to be mad. He's going to be really mad.
All right, so I made a little mistake. But Tennessee Tuxedo will not fail. We'll go out into the woods and cut another one. All right, men. There it is, all ready to trim. Yak, you open all the boxes of ornaments. Baldy, you get the lights ready. Chumley, you steady the ladder. I'll start trimming at the top. Okay, Yak, toss me a red one. Missed. Try again.
Here, Tennessee, I'll hand it to you.
Beautiful. Let me down and admire the effect.
Oh, Tennessee,
Perfect.
Tennessee, look. Oh,
Magnificent!
you've broken half the ornaments.
Well, accidents will happen. Where are the lights? The lights.
Right here, almost ready to be.
Look at this. There's one missing right here. There she is. All finished. What do you think of her?
Looks a little bare to me.
What it needs is this star right on top.
Be careful.
Look out!
Gee, Tennessee, now you've broken all the ornaments.
Mr. Livingston's going to be awful mad.
Especially when he comes here with the mayor and his wife.
Guess it's time to go see Mr. Whoopi. Maybe he can show us how to make ornaments. Tell me, Mr. Whoopi,
Yes?
why are fish well educated?
Why, naturally, because they travel in schools.
And so you see, Mr. Whoopi, we're in kind of a tough spot. Say, that's a beautiful tree you've got there.
Thank you, my boy. Made all the decorations myself.
Gee.
Would you show us how? Boy, if we could only get a tree like that.
But you can. You can make all kinds of beautiful decorations just with things you have around the zoo. And besides, it's fun. Look what you can do with the top of a tin can. Besides, throw it away. Take a pair of dull scissors and cut around the edge like this. Bend some sections up, some down, and whoopee! A beautiful shiny ornament. Here's another. Take colored paper, cut it into a circle, then starting at the edge, cut a spiral into the center. Then you can hang it up so.
Gee, that's great.
Here's an idea with popcorn and cranberries. Take a needle and long thread, push it through a piece of popcorn, then through a cranberry, then through popcorn, then another cranberry, and so on until you have a beautiful long chain to drape on the tree. You can cut stars out of colored paper and angels and Santa Claus. Make little paper baskets out of paper and fill them with candy and hang them on the tree. And cookies! Cookies of all shapes and sizes, all sparkly with sugar and lollipops and shiny paper. Make great ornaments, and then you can eat them. Why, there's no end to the decorations you can make with a little imagination. And whoopee! You'll have that tree trimmed in no time.
Phineas J. Whoopi, thanks a million. Let's go. We've got to get that tree trimmed before Stanley gets back.
And I know you'll be delighted with our tree. I had special decorators come over to trim it. You Tennessee Tuxedo, what have you done?
Greetings, Stanley, and Merry Christmas.
But my ornaments, my beautiful ornaments, and... It is a pretty tree, isn't it?
I think it's the prettiest tree I've ever seen. All those wonderful homemade ornaments.
Looks like the zoo gets the prize.
Merry Christmas, Tennessee. Merry Christmas, Chumley, Yak, and Baldy.
Let's all wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. We wish you Merry Christmas the whole season through. We hope wreaths of holly and bright mistletoe will make you feel jolly wherever you go. We hope you'll hear singing of gay Christmas songs and sleigh bells are ringing all season long. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. We wish you Merry Christmas the whole season through. We hope you'll hear singing of gay Christmas song and sleigh bells are ringing all season long. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. We wish you Merry Christmas the whole season through. Merry Christmas to you.
Our story begins on a typical morning in Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
Morning, Mr. Flappinstrap. What's the temperature?
It's about 10 degrees.
Above or below zero?
Above.
Hot diggity! Ma, can I go barefoot today?
Howdy, Mr. Cratchit. Nice morning.
Nice. 10 degrees above and it's only 11 o'clock. Gonna be another scorcher.
Yes, if there's one thing that's certain in Frostbite Falls, it's cold weather. So you can imagine the surprise of Rocky and Bullwinkle when they stepped outside their little cottage one April day and saw...
No, it can't be.
But is it?
It is. It's a flower.
Impossible.
There it is.
I don't believe my big blue eyes.
Maybe it's some kind of a snowflower, Bullwinkle.
Looks more like a Daffy Down Dilly to me.
And so a little later, all Frostbite Falls had heard of the strange occurrence and had gathered around the daffodil.
There's only one thing I can think, Rocky. The weather must be changing.
Oh, that nonsense. Not impossible.
I can't believe it.
There's one way to prove it.
How's that?
Let's go in the woods and see if the bears are still hibernating.
Hiberhootin'?
If the bears are out of their winter caves, we'll know that the weather's changing.
Say, that's a good idea.
No, I don't think we ought to go into the woods.
What?
I said I don't think...
You're contradicting Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Bullwinkle, why don't you think we ought to go in the woods to see if the bears are out yet?
I thought we might ask him right here.
Here?
Certainly. Are you out of your cave, fella?
Are you out of your mind? That's a bear.
No, we'll never know if he's through hibernating or not.
Hokey smoke, I guess the weather is changing. What'll we do?
I don't know about you, but I'm gonna take off my muffler.
And I'm gonna call the weatherman.
But when Rocky tried to make his call, he got quite a surprise.
Weatherman, I'm sorry. That is an unlisted number.
Unlisted number?
Then how do we find out about the weather?
We'll just have to look in the paper.
And the boys opened their copy of the Frostbite Falls Picayune Intelligence, but to their dismay...
There's nothing there.
Gee, looks like the weather report is classified information.
Then let's look in the classified section.
Good idea.
Sure enough, nestled among the want ads was a small notice.
Weather reports have been canceled during the emergency period.
You mean during the emergency period?
They can't do this to me, Bullwinkle.
They can try.
As a citizen, I've got a right to know what the weather is.
Everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it.
I know. We'll get some weather books from the library.
Good idea, Rock.
But as our heroes stepped outside the door...
No, it can't be. But it is.
What? Another Daffy Dill?
No, look.
That's just your shadow, Rock.
Sure, but don't you realize what that means?
It just means the sun's out. The sun's out?
In Frostbite Falls.
In April. Quick, to the library.
And our heroes dashed to the town library and asked for all the books they had on the weather. But unbeknownst to them, as they roamed through the stacks, they were being watched by a pair of beady eyes. And when Rocky reached for a book on the back of a shelf...
Uh-oh.
What book are you trying to get, Rock?
Hey, there's somebody watching us.
Interesting title. Who done it?
He done it, that's who.
And he did. The malignant figure moved swiftly to block our hero's way out of the library. Maybe we'll find out what this is all about in our next installment, Funny Business in the Books, or the Library Card. Last time, you remember, our heroes were astounded to find a flower growing in Frostbite Falls in April.
Impossible.
And thinking the climate was changing, they dashed to the library to get some books on the weather. But as they started to leave, a strange figure blocked their way.
Hold it right there, you guys.
Who do you suppose that is?
Maybe it's the librarian.
With a gun?
Did you bring back those overdue books we had?
How come you guys got all the books on the weather?
Well, we like weather.
Yes, we like to have it around all the time.
Wouldn't be without it.
All right, can the funny chat and move out of there.
And menaced by the stranger's weapon, our boys started toward the door. Fortunately, their path took them right by the desk of Cletus Bookbinder, the town librarian.
He's sure to recognize us and call the police, Bullwinkle.
I can hardly wait to see the expression on that feller's face when Cletus says,
"Well, I see you got both of them. Good work.
Mr. Bookbinder, it's us.
Take him away."
All right, get going, you two.
Say, who is this guy anyway?
I don't know. Maybe it's from some other TV show.
Say, fella, the Martin Kane show was dropped this year, you know, and...
I don't want to hear any more funny cracks, you understand?
You're right, Rock. He does belong on another show.
And so our heroes, mind you, were marched through the streets of Frostbite Falls at gunpoint.
Now, there's something you don't see every day, Chauncey.
What's that, Edgar?
Bullwinkle being followed by a man with a gun.
What's so unusual about that?
It's not moose hunting season yet.
Oh.
Where are you taking us, mister?
You'll find out, Junior.
And Junior, Rocky did, too. For in a moment, they were entering the Federal Building and approaching an office door.
Gee, that one must really be a hush-hush agency, Bullwinkle.
How come?
Look at the name on the door.
Censored. Yeah, that must be a tippy-tappy top secret outfit.
But to their surprise, our heroes were ushered right through that door.
X9 reporting with 2 suspects.
Good work, X9. The chief will see them now.
And our heroes approached a figure who, with its back turned, was talking on the telephone.
I don't care, operator. You must find them immediately, if not sooner. Yes, Rocky Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose. That's it.
Hey, Bullwinkle, that's Captain Peter Peachfuzz.
The wrong way, expert.
Hey, Captain.
What is it? What is it?
2 suspects picked up reading weather books in the library.
Take them away.
But, Captain, it's us.
I couldn't care less. I'm trying to find Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, but that's us.
And we're they.
Very well, leave your names with the man at the desk and Rocky and Bullwinkle. Well, how did you get here?
I was brung.
I was brought, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, we were both brung.
Jim, I'm glad you're here. Who brought you?
This gentleman here.
Yeah, Mr. X9.
Actually, X9 is just my secret code name. You can call me by my real name.
What's that?
X3.
Well, how come you arrested us for reading books about the weather?
Please, don't mention that word in this office.
How come?
Even the walls have ears.
I thought that was funny-looking wallpaper.
Actually, the WHETHER has become a top secret item.
That's the wrong weather, Captain.
Oh, then you know.
Know what?
That the weather's all wrong.
Yeah, the H is silent.
You said it. It's very hush-hush.
I mean, you're supposed to drop the H.
You mean ush-ush?
What's ush-ush?
Well, I came to tell you why the weather's changing.
Well, why is it changing?
Because the world is turning upside down.
What?
What?
What? The world turning upside down? Well, that's silly. And we'll find out just how silly in our next episode, Topsy-Turvy Time, or Emit, Evie, Rut, Easy... oh, forget it. Well, as you know, everybody was amazed to find a flower growing in Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, including the town's leading citizens, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
The temperature must be rising.
It certainly was. Mercury was shooting out of the tops of thermometers all over town. The reason, of course, was that no thermometer in Frostbite Falls was built to register more than 20 degrees above zero.
Well, dagnabbit, we never had a heat wave before.
Then, when Rocky and Bullwinkle tried to find out about the weather, they were picked up by a sinister figure and taken to a federal office so secret its name wasn't even on the door. But once inside, it was Old Home Week, for the head of the agency was none other than Captain Peter Wrong Way Peachfuzz.
Never mind, operator. I found them. Operator, operator.
You have the phone backwards, Captain.
Well, that's no reason for her to be rude.
Captain, why are we here?
Why are any of us here?
Huh?
Our lives are but sparks, flickering against eternity.
Captain.
Mere whispers in the hurricane of time.
But why are we here in this office?
Oh, that's different.
And why is the weather changing?
That I know.
Then why didn't you tell us?
It's not in my script, but here's the man who can explain it.
And the good captain flung open a nearby door.
That's the janitor's closet, Captain.
This must be the door.
That's the janitor.
So it is. Well, I've run out of doors.
Maybe that wasn't the janitor, Bullwinkle.
Hey, are you the janitor?
No, I'm the professor.
So you are. Boys, this is Professor Werner von Beige.
Isn't that Von Brown?
Von Beige. This one bleached out a little.
Well, I can't make head or tail of this.
Ah, then you know.
Know what?
That the world is turning upside down.
Upside down?
Jawohl, topsy-turvy.
And the good professor told our heroes his startling story. It seems that according to his calculations, the North Pole was sliding further and further south.
Actually, the Earth is slowly tipping over this way.
Well, everybody needs a change once in a while.
But in 6 months, the South Pacific is going to be where the Arctic Ocean is now.
Where'll that put Frostbite Falls, Professor?
According to my calculations, Frostbite Falls should wind up right on the equator.
Gee.
And Chicago will be where Honolulu is.
And what'll happen to Philadelphia?
Oh, they'll still be in the cellar.
Nice to know some things won't change.
But we don't want to live on the equator.
How come?
It's just going to ruin the ice hockey season.
Hey, that's right. We gotta break this thing up.
But how?
Well, I figure if we can find a new North Pole and melt the ice there, the world may straighten out.
Good idea. Where is the new North Pole?
It's due west of here, in the Pacific Ocean.
Well, then let's go.
And so a few days later, our heroes were preparing to take off for the West Pole.
You got the stuff to melt the ice, Bullwinkle?
There it is, Rock. 2,000 heating pads, 100 pounds of salt, 500 incendiary bombs, and 400 pictures of Gina Lollapalooza.
Well, some ought to work.
And something did. The captain turned a switch to reverse jet, and the huge plane began to lumber down the field backwards.
Looks like a rough trip ahead of us, Bullwinkle.
Looks like a rougher one behind us.
Then as the plane began to rise slowly, tail first, a small figure waved goodbye from the runway below.
Bye-bye. Sure nice of him to come see us off, wasn't it?
Who?
Professor Von Beige.
Professor Von Beige?
You notice kind of an echo in here?
Yes, as fate and Captain Peach Fuzz would have it, our boys had left behind the only man who knew where in the world they were headed.
What difference does it make? I can only see where we've been anyway.
Be sure to see our next episode, Bullwinkle Takes the Wheel or the Bum Steer. Well, last time our boys were preparing to leave for their long trip to the West Pole, but with Captain Peter Peachfuzz at the wheel, they found themselves taking off backwards. Not only that, but they left Professor Von Beige standing on the runway, and he was the only man who knew where they were going.
And I'll tell you something, Junior, it wasn't that way.
Bullwinkle, we gotta get Captain Peachfuzz straightened out.
Impossible.
Well, we gotta try.
By this time, even the confused captain had figured out that something was wrong.
This is the first plane I've ever flown in that had an observation car.
Faster and faster the plane flew.
Buffeting, buffeting.
Until it broke through the sound barrier and was traveling backwards faster than the speed of sound. As a result, when Rocky burst into the cabin and started to speak, his voice sounded like this.
Nou, of niet, zie maar, zo is.
No. No.
And prompted by Rocky, Captain Peachfuzz turned the switch to forward. Instantly, the plane reversed direction. But everything inside it kept going the other way, including our friends.
That didn't work out exactly as I planned.
Fortunately, among the things that were falling with our friends were a number of parachutes, and in a few minutes they were all floating safely down, except Captain Peachfuzz.
Naturally.
Below them, Professor Von Beige was trudging sadly back to town when suddenly...
Hey, Professor, it's us!
Oh, you've come back for me. How nice. But where's their plane?
A good question, that, for at that moment, their abandoned plane broke in half in midair, and part of it landed in a downtown parking lot.
Now, there's something you don't see every day, Chauncey.
What's that, Edgar?
Half an airplane just landed in the parking lot.
Oh, I don't know, Edgar. T'other half ought to be here soon.
Wonder how come that half landed later, Chauncey.
That's the tourist section.
True.
Back at the airport, our friends were readying another plane.
Boy, it's sure lucky for us this is a fantasy show.
How come?
If this was for real, this plane would have cost a fortune.
Well, this time with an experienced flyer at the controls...
Rocket G. Squirrel himself!
The plane zoomed skyward and started on its long journey.
Could you make that a short journey?
How come?
I forgot the sandwiches.
But, Bullwinkle, it is a long journey.
Well, couldn't we do like they do in the movies? You know where you see the hands on the clock spinning, and the leaves dropping off the calendar, and the seasons changing, and the first thing you know...
Bullwinkle, you got a long white beard.
Must have gone too far. I better put a few leaves back on the calendar.
Better turn the clock back a bit, too, Bullwinkle.
How come?
Because we're getting awful low on gas.
And at that moment, the jet engines conked out and the plane started to fall.
Hey, we're gonna set a new record.
What's that?
We'll crash 2 planes in one episode.
We gotta send our position on the radio.
On the what?
On the radio.
Rocky, this may come as a shock to you, but we're not on the radio. We're on television.
I mean the plane radio.
Plane or FM, we're just not on it.
Captain, what's our position?
I've got it right here. We're between 56th and 57th Street on Madison Avenue.
Hokey smoke, you know what that means?
It means we're gonna crash right on the J. Walter Stucker Company.
No, it means we got a map of New York City.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't...
It's a little too late for jokes now, Bullwinkle.
Oh.
And the plane plunged dizzily downward. Be with us next time for the Ocean Waves or High Divers.
I said it was too late for jokes.
It's all right, Rock. That wasn't funny.
Well, when last we saw Bullwinkle and Rocky, they were plunging straight downward toward... You're not plunging down.
We are, too.
You're going straight.
Ridiculous.
But...
You're just looking at the picture wrong.
Yeah, turn your head sideways.
No, the other way.
Oh, well, that's better. Yes, our heroes were plummeting toward the ocean far below.
That's better.
But first, a brief word about the plot.
Very brief.
It all started a few days ago with Professor Von Beige's theory of the polar flip.
Yeah, you see, the ice at the North Pole is getting heavier and heavier, and the whole world's starting to flip over this way, which means that the new North Pole, or as we call it, the West Pole, will be somewhere in the Pacific Ocean.
But if we get there and melt the ice, maybe it'll flip back again.
So that's why we were headed west when we ran out of gas.
I still think we're headed west.
Yeah, maybe we'd better bail out, Bullwinkle.
Bail out? We're not sinking, Rock. We're falling.
If only we had a little more gas.
Well, maybe we brought along an extra can. Let's look through the luggage.
Good idea, Rock. Let's see. Here's some ice skates, a whiffle tree bolt.
Hey, what's in here?
Don't open that!
Gee, what was that?
That was my collection of soap bubbles.
Say, here's a copy of the Congressional Record.
What's that for?
I use it to press flowers in. Let's see, 3 pounds of Gruffy dust.
Bullwinkle, that's it.
Gruffy dust? We gotta wait till the dark of the moon if we're gonna use...
No, the Congressional Record.
I don't want to quibble, Rock, but this is no time to catch up on your reading.
You don't understand. This is a jet plane, right?
Right.
And a jet is nothing but a lot of hot air, right?
Right.
Well, where are you going to find more hot air than there is in the Congressional Record?
Mr. Squirrel, this is a scintillating hypothesis.
And a pretty bright idea, too.
In a twinkling, a connection was made, and Bullwinkle began to read the Congressional Record into the plane's fuel system.
Mr. Speaker, the glorious history of the grain and feed industry as reflected in the production figures for the period 1907 to 1912 is...
Bullwinkle, it's working. Keep it up.
For our American system and our children's children against the encroachment of the forces of international outlawry and the abandonment of our precious heritage of...
Hooray!
We're saved!
She's never flown better.
Yes, apparently there was enough hot air in that single volume of the Congressional Record to propel a 4-engine jet clear around the world.
Wait till the boys at Cape Carnivorous hear about this.
Okay, Captain Peach Fuzz, which way do we go?
Forward, Rocky, always forward.
No, on the map.
Oh, that. Well, let me get it in a better light. We are heading past E.A.Wa.
E.A.Wa? That's an odd name.
It's Welsh, Rocky. In Wales, that means the place where the geese run barefoot.
Could I see that map, Captain?
Certainly, Professor. There it is. E.A.Wa.
Captain, you're holding the map against the light and reading it backwards.
Oh?
That's really Hawaii.
In Wales? Ridiculous.
Oh, boy.
Meanwhile, back at the Moose...
Like to place in the record the names of the Shawnee Falls Arbor Day Committee, Lavinia Waggle, Arthur Grinker... Boy, this is dull stuff. Whitney Clapsaddle, Bernard Walkenfuss...
Yes, it was dull. So dull that within 3 minutes, everybody within hearing distance of Bullwinkle was sound asleep.
Had the plane flew onward to without a... Be with us next time for...
Freebird, Darwin J. Hatch, Ella Hughes Beagle, Horace Beldo, Harvey Flitch, Casper Puddingstone, Marvin Geld, Elizabeth Ogle, Sinbad Brittle, Chewie Martinez...
What? Oh, yes. In our last episode, Bullwinkle began to read the Congressional Record into the fuel system of our hero's jet plane to provide them with enough hot air to fly to their destination. There was plenty of hot air, all right, but unfortunately, he ran across the membership list of the Shawnee Falls Arbor Day Committee, and the steady drone of names soon put everybody to sleep.
Including the narrator.
Yes. As a result, I don't know where we are now. Do you, Rocky?
Huh? Do I what?
Oh, never mind. Captain Peach Fuzz?
Avast the fantail and capstan, the landlubber, and... what'd you say?
Professor Von Beige?
Let's sign up with the other side, Otto. Those Russian winters allow...
Professor, where are we?
We are there, that's where.
Where is there?
There's where is there.
Sure enough, when our heroes looked down, they saw a small Pacific island directly beneath them.
Gee, it's sure pretty.
That's the new North Pole?
Jawohl.
Sure ought to pep up the tourist trade.
I wonder if the natives are friendly.
Well, we'll soon find out.
That was true, for at that moment, down on the island, a band of natives was preparing a big welcome for the boys under the direction of the native chief, whose name was... what is your name, Chief?
Aloha, Kimosabi. Allow me to introduce myself. Colonel Oglethorpe Peachtree. This is my partner, Magnolia Blossom.
Those are odd names to find in the Pacific.
You forget, Sonny boy, this is the South Pacific.
Oh, but you're really Boris and...
You're giving away the plot.
Don't be a snitch, darling.
Oh, this is terrible. You're in charge of the island?
You saw it, kid, and what a welcome we give.
Welcome?
We've been practicing for weeks. First big fire dance, moose and squirrel get hot food from whole tribe. Then big 2-course dinner cooked in individual casseroles.
The dinner?
Right. squirrel stew, and fricassee of moose.
But that's practically a meal for cannibals.
What do you think these boys are, vegetarians?
Colonel, darling, it's time to send invitations.
Right, Miss Magnolia.
And Boris quickly scrawled invitations on a number of huge bombs, and his gang of bloodthirsty cannibals began to load them into a primitive weapon.
Ready? Aim. Fire.
The bomb hurtled on its way, but it didn't go unobserved.
Unidentified flying object off the port bow, or is it the starboard?
Unidentified my foot. That's a flying bomb.
You mean somebody shooting at us?
But that's impossible. In the guidebook, it says the natives are known to be friendly.
It does.
It says they're known to be harmless.
It does. There's another thing we know about them, too.
What's that?
They don't read guidebooks.
Listen, we come in peace.
Oh, careful, Captain, or you'll come in pieces.
Gee, those things are getting awful close.
Take it easy, Bullwinkle. There's only one you gotta worry about.
Which one is that?
The one that has your name on it.
And at that instant, a bomb hurtled through the window and landed in Bullwinkle's arms.
Say, Rock, guess what this one says on it?
Rocky and Bullwinkle?
How'd you guess?
And our heroes floated rapidly down toward the spear-brandishing mob beneath them. Be sure to see our next ticklish episode, 6 o'clock low, or Bullwinkle Gets the Point. Well, the whole silly business started with a theory by Professor Werner von Beige.
I figure that the North Pole is so heavy with ice that it's starting to wobble like this. And the new North Pole is really going to be the West Pole. Wild, nicht wahr?
At first, the professor's theory didn't impress the world scientists very much.
I tell you, Sir Basil, Von Beige has flipped his wig.
Ho, 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 that's ripping.
What did he say, Basil?
He said Von Beige has inverted his rudder toupee.
But people found it less amusing when the weather actually began to change.
Extreme rain in Dry Gulch. Another snowstorm in Miami.
I told you we should have gone to California instead.
You kidding? There they got big floods.
Yeah, but that's normal.
But even more remarkable things were happening in northern Labrador, where Eskimos were demanding bigger and better refrigerators and freezers.
Well, I'm sure you'll be delighted with this one, Mrs. Umiak. Lots of room for food storage.
Food storage, my eye! This new house!
So there may be something to the professor's theory after all.
You said it, Charlie.
But now let's rejoin Rocky and Bullwinkle, who are floating in parachutes toward the new North Pole, the island of Rikki Tikki.
Looks like we're in for trouble, Bullwinkle. Look there.
The natives were brandishing a forest of sharp spears, led by their chief.
All right, gang, let's hit it with it. And a one and a two.
Weather like a moo-moo, pui-pui, make like a boo-boo, pui-pui.
Sounds pretty ominous.
And downright mean, too.
Weather like a moo-moo, pui-pui, make like a boo-boo, pui-pui.
Hey, Bullwinkle, you notice anything funny?
If I did, I'd be the first to mention it.
We're not falling anymore. We're going up.
Up, impossible.
But strange as it seems, our heroes had reversed direction, for every time the natives said,
Pui-pui,
they sent a gust of air upward that lifted the parachute skyward again.
weather like a moo-moo, pui-pui, make like a boo-boo, pui-pui.
Hold it, you guys. What kind of spear dance is that? Who wrote those lines?
You ride them, Colonel.
Take that man's name and serial number.
But, Colonel, you ask him question.
When I want a honest answer, I'll tell him you.
Meanwhile, our heroes were drifting downward again, some distance away.
Well, looks like we're safe for a little while, Bullwinkle. I better go down ahead and find a good landing place.
Go down ahead?
Sure, did you forget I'm a flying squirrel?
Then how come you didn't fly away when them fellers are playing shish kebab with us?
And leave my old buddy? Never.
I should have knowed.
Well, I'll find us all a good place to stay. Bye now.
Golly, what a pal. Makes a feller come all over Gulpy.
But our boys had once again underestimated their opponent, who now stood in a clearing talking to two fierce-looking hawks.
Okay, Howard, Emery, this is your target for tonight. Got it? Good.
Boris, you sure they'll do the job?
Of course, these are only hawks in the world with stainless steel beaks.
What about their talons?
What else? Every little pinky dipped in poison. Just one scratch and squirrel is kaput.
Oh, darling, you've done it again.
Naturally.
But how did you ever find birds with poison talons?
It's easy, Natasha. I called an agent.
Agent?
Not an agent, really. More of a talon scout.
And as if to get away from such a dreadful joke, the two hawks flapped off toward their prey. How will Rocky fare against these marauders of the sky? We'll find out next time in Boris Goes for Broke, or A Fiend in Need is a Fiend Indeed. Well, last time, you remember, as our heroes were trying to land on the island of Rikki-Tikki, Rocky slipped out of his parachute harness and began to reconnoiter the island. At the same time, the notorious Boris Badenov, masquerading as Colonel Oglethorpe Peachtree, had released two vicious hawks named Howard and Emery to attack Rocky in the air. Meanwhile, what of our other two friends, Professor Von Beige and Captain Peachfuzz?
Never mind us. Get on with the story.
Well, the two feathered killers rode through the air searching for our hero and at last spotted him. In a few seconds, they were diving swiftly at our unsuspecting hero, one from one side, one from the other. But the attack hadn't gone unnoticed.
Jumpin' G, horse fat! Rocky! Look out! Beware! Achtung!
It was no use. Rocky was too far below to hear Bullwinkle's bellowing.
Well, I can clout one of them hawks anyway.
And Bullwinkle hurled his binoculars down at the attackers. Unfortunately, they went right past the hawks and...
Ow!
Yes, the heavy glasses knocked Rocky into a spin just as his two pursuers closed in on him. As a result... Yes, the two hawks had destroyed each other as a result of Bullwinkle's wily stratagem.
No, it was more of a sidearm curveball.
But...
Almost a knuckler.
I mean...
And I took a little off it, too.
Well, anyway, Rocky finally recovered enough to pull out of his spin.
Gee, I must have hit an air pocket.
Meanwhile, in the clearing below, Boris was unaware of what had happened until...
Ow!
What is it, darling?
These glasses fell out of sky and... Oh, boy.
What is it, Boris?
You don't suppose there really is somebody up there who's watching all the time?
Not through these, anyway. Look.
Property of Bullwinkle Moose. Give me those.
And as Boris looked through the glasses...
Moose is okay, Squirrel is okay, hawks are kaput. Oh, Natasha, do you ever get these days where everything goes right?
No, knock him off, Squirrel, Colonel Buona.
No, after him, you idiots.
No.
And remember, first idiot to catch him gets Squirrel Tail for his radio aerial. See? You got to provide worthwhile incentives, Natasha.
Only one thing, Boris.
Yes?
Why we're doing all this?
What?
What is your fiendish plot?
I thought you'd never ask. Hold it! Everybody hold it! That's better. Now, fiendish plot. It all starts with the professor's theory. Too much ice at North Pole. World tips over this way and we got new North Pole, right?
Right.
And this very island will be the new North Pole.
But what's that got to do with...
Think, Natasha. Who lives at North Pole?
Penguins?
That's South Pole. Who lives at North Pole?
Give me a hint.
You know, jingle bells, jingle la la la.
Swiss bell ringers.
No. With a beard and the ho 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 and jingle bells, jingle bells.
I've got it, Boris.
Who?
Mitch Miller.
Yeah. No, you idiot woman. Santa Claus.
Boris, you say the naughty word.
It's all in a good cause, Natasha.
What cause?
Santa Claus?
You mean?
Yes. I, Boris Badenov, am going to be the new Santa. How about that, Natasha? Natasha? She fainted.
But we'll find out more about Boris's mad scheme in our next episode, The Fright Before Christmas, or A Visit from St. Nicholas. Last time, you remember, Natasha had made Boris a happy heel by inquiring...
But, Boris, what is your fiendish plan this time?
I thought you'd never ask. And this one is a Lulu.
Yes, you remember that according to Professor Von Beige's theory, the North Pole was so top-heavy with ice that the world was tilting over sideways and would soon have a new North Pole.
And where will the new North Pole be?
I give up, darling. Where?
Right here, Natasha, on the island of Rikki-Tikki. In a couple of months, we'll be living at the North Pole.
So?
So, who lives at the North Pole? I give you 3 guesses.
Santa Claus, Judge Crater, and the Lane sisters.
Judge Crater and the Lane sisters?
I didn't want to waste the other 2 guesses, darling.
Oh. So guess now who's going to be the new Santa Claus?
Oh, not you, Boris.
You're not just whistling Ochichornia.
But for badness sake, why?
Use your head, Natasha. Just think. First, I get to wear big white beard. In disguise, no?
I guess.
Then, on Christmas Eve, I start out in bulletproof sleigh and visit everybody's house. Down the chimney I go and...
It's Santa Claus!
Ho, ho, ho! Stick him up! And for the first time in history, Santa Claus carries presents up the chimney instead of down.
Oh, marvelous, darling.
Say, I could even visit the First National Bank. Ho, 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 ho! Here's a Christmas card from old Santa.
Season's greetings. Hand over the cash. But...
What's the matter? You don't have the spirit of giving?
But I thought...
And don't try to ring the alarm. My elves got you covered. Just think, from now on, Santa goes back to North Pole with a sleigh full of loot. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, boys. Here's your coat.
Thanks, Santa.
And remember, try to double-cross jolly old Santy and you go for a one-way sleigh ride.
Yeah, sure, Sandy, sure.
I tell you, Natasha, the Jingle Bells racket is worth billions.
Boris, this is the meanest, crookedest, most low-down thing you have ever done.
I thought you'd like it.
Unaware of all this, our boy Rocky the Flying Squirrel was still diving earthward, groggy from a blow on the head. Then at the last minute...
Where am I? Uh-oh. Gee, I must have blacked out for a second. I better land in that clear until my head stops buzzing.
Little did Rocky dream that that clearing was surrounded by the fierce natives of Rikki-Tikki, every native holding a sharp spear except for one who was holding a large pot and a cookbook. Meanwhile, back at the Moose, Bullwinkle was having troubles of his own.
Great gobs of gruffy dust. Things look mighty rugged down there.
They did that, for Bullwinkle was headed straight down toward a swamp full of man-eating crocodiles.
Yeah, and I got a hunch they're moose eaters, too.
Well, there was only one thing for an intelligent, cool-headed moose to do. He tried to climb up inside his parachute. Of course, the parachute instantly collapsed on one side and slid sideways, just enough sideways to carry Bullwinkle out of danger and let him land safely. No sooner had he hit the ground than...
Bullwinkle! Help!
That's Rocky, and he's in trouble.
Of course, Bullwinkle started off to Rocky's aid, but he'd forgotten all about his parachute, which at that moment enveloped him in yards and yards of yards and yards, so that he couldn't move. Well, it looks as if Rocky is really in a stew.
Not yet, but it's only a matter of time.
Be with us for our next red-hot episode, Soup's On, or Rocky Goes to Pot. The travel books say that the South Pacific island of Rikki-Tikki is a land of nothing but fun, fun, fun. But in our last episode, Rocky was seized by natives who seemed to have some rather special dinner plans for him.
And that's no fun, believe me.
You hush mouth. No one's back talk from main course.
Of course, Bullwinkle landed by parachute just a short distance away. But as he started to Rocky's aid, the chute landed on top of him, and he started to stagger about blindly. And with our other two friends, the captain and the professor, hung up in a wait-a-bit bush, things looked pretty gosh-awful for our side.
Like it says, nothing but fun, fun, fun.
Meanwhile, back at the clearing...
Let's see. Who we invite to dinner, Sam?
What about Nararutu tribe?
We owe them dinner?
Sure. You remember they have us over last month for roast brisket of missionary.
Think squirrel big enough to go round?
Better add more carrots, Mobutu.
Who else we invite?
I'd like to invite somebody.
You? Who you invite?
The United States Marine.
Squirrel, pretty good sport, huh?
Very sweet kid. In fact, he's so sweet.
You gonna let me go?
No, but maybe we serve you for dessert instead.
Oh, boy.
Yes, Rocky was in hot water, all right, and he might have wound up as just another entry in the Rikki-Tikki Fireside Cookbook if just then...
Uh-oh. What that, Sam?
Nothing human, you bet.
Sound like great swamp spirit.
Oh, come on, Mobutu. This 20th century.
You got points, Sam. No great swamp spirit, huh?
No.
Then what that?
Sure enough, coming at them out of the gloom was an eerie, shapeless figure.
Well, no just stand there, Mobutu. Run!
I thought this was 20th century.
It is, but how we know great swamp spirit count that high?
You got points, Sam.
And the terrified Rikki-Tikkians fled for the bush. But at that moment, the great swamp spirit tripped over a root. There was a tearing sound, and out popped none other than...
Bullwinkle, it was really you with your parachute draped over you.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a letter to that company, and I'm...
Gee, that was a brilliant idea.
I'll tell them their ding-busted parachutes are a brilliant idea.
Sure, those natives thought you were the great swamp spirit.
Swamp spirit?
Sure, it's a ghost that's all white and creepy looking.
You mean like that thing there?
Bullwinkle!
Oh, get it? Oh!
I tried to tell you, that's your other foot.
Yeah, I figured that. Only one thing bothers me.
What's that?
What are you doing in that silly bathtub?
But this is
I know it isn't Saturday, so why the tub?
But...
Full of carrots, too.
Oh, come on.
Never thought you'd go high hat, Rocky.
High hat?
You're the only fella I know who takes a 14-carat bath.
But while this gay badinage was taking place, the island of Ricky Tikki was swinging farther and farther north. As a result, the temperature dropped suddenly, and our heroes found themselves in a very cold climate.
Bullwinkle, the weather's changing.
How can you tell?
Well, the barometer pressure's dropping.
Uh-huh.
And those are cirrus clouds up there.
True.
And besides...
Yes, yes.
The water's frozen solid, and I can't get out of this pot.
Oh, sainted Aunt Agnes McGee. Is Rocky doomed to remain a talking ice cube till this story is over? We'll find out more in Snowbank Squirrel, or Bullwinkle Gets the Drift. What you're looking at is not some strange unknown planet, but our own ever-loving Earth, when Professor von Beche's theory was proved, and it turned sideways. As a result, there's a new North Pole, what used to be the South Pacific island of Ricky Tikki. Oh, and here in a pot full of ice is Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
Gee, and I was afraid you were going to be boiled in this thing.
Hey, that's it, Bullwinkle.
What's it? You want to get boiled?
No. But if you light a fire under this pot, it'll melt the ice.
A pretty brainy idea, Rock. I'm sure glad you're not froze at both ends.
Me too.
So Bullwinkle struck a match and tried to light the kindling under Rocky's pot, but to no avail.
What's the matter, Bullwinkle?
It was so cold that the match flame had frozen solid.
Might as well put it away till it thaws out. No use wasting it.
Gee, I can't move.
Sure you can.
How?
I'll carry you.
And the mighty moose hoisted his pal and started off.
Bullwinkle!
I'm right here, Rock.
I didn't say anything.
I could have swore I heard somebody say,
Rocky!
Hey, that's another voice.
Yeah, pretty blood-chilling, isn't it?
Not very blood-chilling, Rock.
Maybe not for you, but I'm so cold already it doesn't take much.
Oh, they were familiar type voices, too.
Well, of course they were. That was Captain Peter Peachfuzz and the Professor. They must be in trouble.
Sure enough, as Bullwinkle looked down from the top of the hill, he saw their two friends being carried away by a band of half-frozen but still ferocious natives.
We gotta stop them.
You bet. Hey, cut that out, you guys.
It's Bullwinkle and Rocky.
Cut that out, I say.
I do wish he'd stop saying cut that out.
Why?
I'm afraid the natives will take the hint.
Well, the natives lined up in battle array before the charging moose, their sharp spears at the ready, and Bullwinkle chose that moment to trip over his feet.
Oop! He's done for.
Him? What about us?
But in falling, Bullwinkle had dropped the pot containing Rocky and his ice cube.
Oh, Buzz Fuzz, I got a split. That's going to be hard to pick up, too.
Not too hard, really, for while the captain and the professor took care of one Ricky Tikkian, the empty pot took care of the other.
Empty pot?
Looky there! Rocky on the rocks!
The collision had freed the plucky squirrel, and he sat unharmed on a pile of ice cubes.
Well, Professor, looks like your theory was right. It's pretty cold.
Jawohl, but I wish I wasn't quite so right. And a little bit warmer.
But at that moment...
What happened?
We're in luck. I think Bullwinkle's match is thawed out. Come on.
And while our friends tried to warm their hands behind a smoldering Bullwinkle, they were watched by a pair of evil eyes belonging to... Oh, no.
Ho, ho, ho! Give a guess who?
Oh, come on now. You're not Santa Claus. You're Boris Badenov.
I'm Sandy Claus and I can prove it.
How?
I got a witness. My assistant, Elf.
Isn't she a little tall for an elf?
It's the high heels, darling. They fool you.
Oh, boy.
Well, Elf, it's time to pay our first visit.
To whom, Santa, darling?
To those goody goods on the other end of island. And I take everybody a present, too.
What kind of present?
What else? Bum-bums.
Well, will Boris's dastardly scheme really succeed? We'll find out next time in Clause and Effect, or You'll Be Sorry. Well, it finally happened. Professor von Beche's theory of the polar flip actually came to pass, and the Earth really had a new North Pole. Of course, this caused a great deal of consternation all over the world. London, for instance.
Let's face it, old bean,
We're living on a ruddy tropical island.
It was true. People attended the opening day at Ascot and Sarong's. The House of Lords discarded its ermines and dressed exclusively in muumuus, and even the familiar London bobbies looked different. Their helmets were the same, but they now wore shorts and ankle-length stockings called...
If you say bobby socks, so help me, I'll bash you.
Moscow, too, had its troubles.
But you've got to do it, Commissar.
Yet, Vasily, impossible.
But it's so hot. I've got to go where it's cool.
I can do a thing for you.
But you can. Please, Commissar, send me to Siberia.
And the sudden change in directions had dire effects in the U.S. as well.
Hey, Clint, how come you looking so down in the mouth?
I'm just looking at the new map here, Harold.
And?
The full enormity of what's happened just hit me.
Enormity?
Yep. Look, Texas is now way up here.
What difference does that make, Clint?
Don't you see, Harold? From now on, we're Yankees.
As a matter of fact, only one man seemed delighted at the change, and he was on the island of Rikki-Tikki, which formed the new North Pole. His name... Boris Badenov.
Or as we call him, St. Nicolaus.
Yes, Boris had decided to put himself in the Santa Claus business.
You know a better location?
Think of it, Natasha. People invite you down their chimneys every year. It's like a license to steal.
As if you needed one, darling.
And for his first call, Boris decided to pay a visit to Bullwinkle and Rocky, who were at that moment trying to work out a plan.
Bullwinkle, we just gotta get the world straightened up.
Yeah, and after we do that, let's think about what to have for dinner.
Fortunately, our heroes had the help of Professor von Beige himself.
Gentlemen, I've got it.
A way to straighten up the world?
No, what to have for dinner. First, a little Kartoffelsuppe mit
Maybe
Leber.
we ought to solve the other problem first.
Rocky, when my stomach starts growling, there are no other problems.
Well, let's ask ourselves how this happened in the first place.
All righty. How did this happen in the first place?
I don't know.
Me either. Let's get an easier question.
It happened because the old North Pole got too heavy with ice and snow and slipped over sideways.
Then that's what we'll do.
Slip over sideways?
No, make it snow up here.
Hey, that's a great idea if we don't freeze to death first.
Yes, that was a problem, for with the shift in climate, the bottom had fallen out of every thermometer on the island. Hundreds of natives shivered in the icy blasts.
Go on, Chief. Try tell us climate isn't changing.
You young punks always complaining. This just little cold snap.
Cold snap! Man, we living at North Pole.
This is living.
Nonsense, boys. This tropic zone.
Then who that coming? Commander Whitehead?
Jumping Juju. It's Santa Claus.
And his helper.
Then it's true. World has flipped.
Ho, 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 darling.
Hey, Santy, you got them pair red flannels for me?
You've been a good boy, haven't you?
You bet 'em.
That's why you don't have red flannels. Be bad boy and steal some. Ho, ho, ho.
You know something, Chief?
Huh?
Not only world flip, Santa flip, too.
No, it wasn't the same old generous Santa.
What do you talk? I got it here, special Christmas present for Moose.
Oh, well, that's different. What is it?
I give you one clue. It's a ticking package.
An alarm clock? A wristwatch? An egg timer?
See, Natasha, you can fool some of the people all the time.
And we'll find out just how many people in Boom at the Top are the angry young moose. Well, last time you remember, Boris Badenov disguised himself as Santa Claus and started off to deliver a present to Bullwinkle. A present that goes tick-tock.
Until he opens it, then it goes kaboom.
In just a little while, he approached our shivering friends and...
Hello, hello, hello. And ho, 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 everybody. Merry Christmas.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle. Look at that.
It's Sandy Claus.
He looks a little seedy to me. Look at that beard.
It's molting, darling. Always looks a little scraggly this time of year.
And who are you?
Santa's little helper, Alf Elf.
Elf!
Santa, they don't believe in me.
They don't even believe in me.
Now, wait a itty-bitty minute. Nobody's gonna tell me I don't believe in Santa Claus. Not even Santa Claus himself is gonna tell me that.
That's the spirit, little fellow, and just for that, here is your present, a warm, woolly coat to wear.
Gee, dandy.
Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
That ho-ho-ho sounded pretty phony to me.
Yes, that's the first time I ever heard of Santa Claus talking dialect.
Oh, come now. Are you trying to destroy a young moose's faith in Christmas?
Oh, for gunny sack.
What is it, Bullwinkle?
What a Yuletide boo-boo.
What is?
We didn't give him a present.
Well, I really don't think he was expecting one.
Makes no never thee minds, Rock. We got to give Santa a present.
Yeah, but we don't have a present to give him.
No, nothing but this one.
Hey, that's it.
That's what I said.
We'll give him this present.
That's what I said.
So with warm hearts and frostbitten fingers, our boys rewrap Boris's present.
This way, Bullwinkle. We'll hit him off at the ice floe.
Do you think he'll mind getting his own present back again?
He may not know it's his.
I guess you're right. If you've seen one warm woolly coat, you've seen them all.
Besides, you already have a warm woolly coat.
True, though it is wearing out a little in the... Ow!
What?
I forgot this is my own personal pelt.
Hey, here he comes, Bullwinkle.
Say, Rock, let's just toss it in his sleigh as he goes by. That way it'll be more of a surprise.
Bullwinkle neatly tossed the package into the rear of his motorized sleigh.
What a jolt he'll get when he opens it.
I'll bet.
I'd give a purty to be there. I sure like surprises.
Well, you're gonna love this then. Look behind you.
Indeed, for our heroes were surrounded by a band of ferocious Ricky-Tickians.
Gee, they're blue with cold, Bullwinkle.
That's because they got no warm woolly coats like you and me, Rock.
True, but it's only a matter of time.
You mean?
You said 'em. Squirrel coat, just the thing for cold weather.
Yeah, but I'm not big enough to make a coat.
Then I make moose coat with squirrel collar. Pretty sporty, huh?
But to do that, you have to skin us.
You got 'em another way?
I knew I should have had a zipper put in.
We gotta stall for time, Bullwinkle, till Captain Peachfuzz and the professor get here.
Well, that shouldn't take long.
How come?
They're right over there.
Captain, you've dealt with South Pacific Islanders before. What'll we do?
Well, the usual thing is to bargain.
Bargain?
Sure, break out the trade goods, do a little swapping.
Swapping?
Yes, you let them wear your glass beads, they let you wear your head.
Sounds like an even trade.
Well, let's start swapping. What's the going price for a moose head?
No want beads, no want mirrors.
Well, what do you want?
Want warm woolly coat.
Oh, careful, that's fastened on to me.
We fix 'em that.
Wait, I got an idea.
What is it, Rocky?
I can't tell you.
What? Why not?
'Cause it's the end of the episode.
You know he's right, but be sure to see the next episode, Fur, Fur Away, or Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but at last report, things were in a dreadful state. The world had flipped sideways, Boris was about to make a billion-dollar racket out of the Santa Claus business, and our friends had been captured by some half-frozen natives who insisted on skinning Bullwinkle to make warm, woolly coats.
Just one question. Who packed these boxes of trading goods?
I packed them personally, Rocky,
Okay,
but...
open them up, Bullwinkle.
But, Rocky, those are hot weather items only. Trinkets, fans, dark glasses, bikinis.
But the good captain wasn't called Wrong Way Peachfuzz for nothing, for those boxes packed for the tropics were full of...
warm woolly coats!
Hey! Captain, your stupidity saved the day.
Oh, it was nothing that any Navy man couldn't have done.
Now we gotta find a way to straighten the world up.
But how?
Well, according to your theory, Professor, the world tilted over because the ice and snow got too heavy at the old North Pole.
Yeah?
Well, then all we have to do is make the ice and snow too heavy at the new North Pole.
Sure, Charlie, but how?
We could ask people to send it in.
Please, Bullwinkle.
No, he's right.
He is?
I am?
Sure, we'll do a big snow telethon.
And so the call went out all over the topsy-turvy television world.
Send your old ice and snow to the island of Ricky-Ticky, folks, and let's straighten up.
And fly right.
And people did just that. From the icebound shores of California to the snow-capped jungles of Tanganyika, people began to send ice and snow to Ricky-Ticky. By the train full, by the plane full, by the ship full, even by the tray full.
That's it, folks. Keep it coming.
One more snowstorm should do it, Rocky.
One more snowstorm, eh?
And before you can say Tusanella Werfenpickle, the plucky squirrel had grabbed a nearby sack of silver iodide crystals and was zooming through the air over the island.
Silver iodide crystals?
If you drop them into a cold cloud, it makes snow.
Oh!
Yes, Rocky was flashing through the frigid air above the island, seeding the clouds.
Hi-yo, silver iodide!
And everywhere that Rocky went, he left a curtain of white falling behind him.
Gentlemen, please take off your hat.
How come?
This is a solemn moment. We are witnessing the greatest snow job in history.
And it was true. The added weight of the snow began to tilt the island over more and more. And within a few hours, the world had flipped back to normal. And everybody was delighted with the change, except for one old gentleman who lay basking in the sun.
Oh, confound it. I knew they'd find a way sooner or later. All right, come on, boys. The vacation is over.
We're coming, Santa Claus!
Yes, the island of Ricky-Ticky suddenly swung back into the warm South Pacific again, and of course all that ice began to melt. The result was a fantastic flood in which two woebegone figures struggled.
Well, Boris, there goes the Santa Claus racket.
Well, easy come, easy go.
Boris, you're not unhappy?
Of course not. His first story where I wind up with something.
What?
This present the moose gave me when he thought I was Santa Claus.
He looks a lot like present you gave him, with bomb in it.
Nonsense. Would moose be stupid enough to give me back my own present?
Well...
On second thought, maybe I...
What were you going to say, Boris?
Only one thing, Natasha. Shut up your mouth!
Well, anyway, Bullwinkle, we managed to give Santa Claus a well-earned vacation in the sun.
Yeah, I can hardly wait to see the old fella next time he gets here.
How come?
'Cause I'm dreaming of a tan Christmas.
Aren't we all? And also dreaming of our next episode of Rocky Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose.